Hi, it's Melissa here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I used my Belle kit to create this cover for a mini album that I'm working on for my friend's daughter. She turned 5 and I took several photos of her party, and she had cupcakes instead of one main cake, and so I thought cupcake was a perfect icon to use for the mini album, and I'm going to show you how I created my own cut file on Silhouette Studio. So this is the Silhouette Studio portion of my video, and so what you want to do is go into Google, and what I'm looking for is a free cupcake silhouette. So if I go into images, that brings up a whole lot of different silhouettes of cupcakes, and what I'm really liking is this one here. So what I do is I drag it onto my desktop, and then I'm just going to name it. Just name it Cupcake so I can find it. Help if I could spell it properly. And then I go into Silhouette Studio, and then I want to click on the open. And then I go to my images and look for my cupcake. Double click. Now it's tiny, that doesn't matter. Click on it and enlarge it. And then go up here to the trace window, and before I get to that, this here is telling me that it's low resolution and it's going to be pixelated and grainy if I print it, but that doesn't matter because I'm not intending to print it. I'm wanting to use this to get the shape of the cupcake for the album. So up to the trace window, I want to select the trace area, so click and drag, and it comes up with yellow there, and then I want to uncheck the high pass filter, and then I want to click on the trace, and then when you drag it off you can see that you remove the main blocky cupcake silhouette, and what you're left with is the outside line of it. So I can delete this, and then I'm wanting to enlarge this to the size that I want, and oops, if you click on it, then you're able to, you're wanting to see the finger, not the arrow. So when you see the hands with the finger, that enables me to drag and position. And now I want to work out what size. So each square is an inch, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 by 7, 3 by 4. I think that's going to work. I might make it a little bit bigger there. Anyway, you get the idea. And so then I will go to my cut window, and I want to highlight it by clicking on it. I want to double click on cut, and then scroll down, and this has the different types of mediums that you're going to cut with. And I'm looking for textured cardstock because that's what I've decided to cut it in white. Textured cardstock. Sorry guys, I've got a cold, which is making my talking really difficult. And then normally, it's because I've played with this, the Silhouette Studio will set textured cardstock to 3, but I find for my silhouette, and I have a precision blade, that I need to put it to 5, which provides a deeper cut. And here you can change the speed. I probably could change it because it's a very simple cut, but I'm going to leave it like that. And you have the ability to do a test cut, there's an advanced cut, but this is really simple, and so all I would do then is send it to Silhouette. Okay, so here is the mat, and I've cut the cupcakes out, and I've actually cut 3 of them because I wanted to have a couple of extra. Now my mat is not very sticky, so rather than just buy a new one, I use washi tape, and I can extend the use or the life of my mat, and I'll keep using it until it really can't be used anymore. So I'm going to lift this off so you can see what I've done. Here are the cupcakes. Really, really cute, and I've got some great ideas about decorating them. What I'm planning to do in this video is decorate the cover. Okay, so what I have here is a real cupcake wrapper, and as you can see, it's got the accordion fold, just like any cupcake wrapper. It's not even new to anybody. But what I want to do is, on the cupcake, is create that here. So what I've decided to do is probably go with this pink, or I may use this one as frosting. Haven't quite decided. I will decide. But what I want to have is this part here will be the cupcake, the wrapper part, and on top will be the frosting with the sprinkles, and then I want to put Gracie turns 5 or something like that, because this is the cover of the album. I also need to think about how I'm going to bind this album, and I will probably definitely be using a ring binder, or maybe even a piece of ribbon. I will make the decision at the end of the album when I see how thick it is, but I need to keep my options open, and just bear in mind that I will need to punch a hole somewhere on the side, so possibly here. I did think about maybe doing it at the top, but because of the icing peak, I don't think that's going to work. So I also thought about using some of this Kaiser colour, pretty pink. We got it in last month's colour kit, but at this stage I'm not quite sure. So what I'll do is put you on fast forward and you'll see the end of my thought process. Now, of course, I just remembered that we also got this beautiful gold in the kit as well. So that's my plan. I'm going to see how it works. I don't have a scoring board. That would make this a lot easier to do the folds, but I'm going to have a go at doing it anyway, and I will come back and show you what I've done. So the first thing I'm wanting to do is trim down the piece of this beautiful paper that I'm going to use to make the cupcake wrapper, and so I've just measured, not accurately, but just positioned the cupcake on the paper and cut the piece that I wanted. And I liked this piece because it had quite a lot of colour and kind of ombre effect. And now I'm using my mat, and it's in inches, and I'm using some washi just to secure my paper, and I've got my steel ruler, and this is a fountain pen that doesn't have any ink in it, and I don't have a scoring tool, so I'm just using this pen and pressing the nib quite hard, and so every 1/4 of an inch I am scoring along the length, or sorry, the width of the paper. And so I'm not going to show all of this, but I do it until I think I've got enough. And then the next thing I want to do is, just like making your own pinwheels, is I want to accordion fold my paper on those lines that I've scored. And so that's what I'm doing now. I found that using that fountain pen worked really well to get the lines, and it's just really easy to fold. And I wanted them to be even because a cupcake wrapper is very even. So just speeding that up to show you the process. And here it is all folded. And so I've got my cupcake, and now I'm working out exactly where I want it to be positioned. And because it's quite dimensional, I'm using some hot glue, which I don't use that often, but in an instance of a project like this, I definitely need to use hot glue. So working quite quickly to get the hot glue down, getting some good coverage, because I want the ridges of that accordion folded paper to sit into the hot glue and to stick. So positioning it. And at this stage I wasn't sure how it was going to go when I cut it. It's a bit scary, but I just waited till it was dry and then just went for it and trimmed away the excess, just using the edge of the cupcake as the guide. So I was really careful and hoping that I wouldn't stuff this up, because I really didn't want to have to start again. So then I needed to add some glue just to the edges, the bits that hadn't stuck down, just from where I've cut them away. And I'm just having to hold them down a little bit to get them to stick. And that is the finished wrapper part of the cupcake, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I mean, when you have a vision in your head, it doesn't always work, but this time it did. So I pulled some of the sequins out of the pretty little kit, or pretty little pieces, and I'm using these thickers that come in the kit, and they are made for colouring. You could also use them just plain, but they've got a fabric on them, and I'm using one of the Craft iridescent sprays that we got in a past colour kit. I didn't want to use the orange that we got or the gold acrylic paint. I just thought this colour matched perfectly with what I was going for. And so I'm colouring them with my water brush, and I've put them aside to dry, and now that they're dry, here's a tip for you. If you are going to stick them onto your thickest packaging, they're going to stick so well that when you peel them up, you are going to remove the adhesive. But I don't mind that, because that means I can play around with the placement and not be concerned about them being stuck. So I just used some Tombow to stick them down once I was sure of where I wanted them. And a little bit of fabric there was stuck in the middle of the A, so I just trimmed that away. Now the dot on the eye did manage to come off, and it didn't need any extra adhesive. So just checking that there. And so that's got her name on it. And the final step was to stick down, or not final step on the icing was to stick down the sequins. And I haven't shown you that whole process because I find it boring to watch. And then I just got one of the ephemera pieces that's a heart, and then I got the sticker from last month's kit, which is a 5 because she had turned 5, and I have just put that on top of the heart, and then I'll be using my hot glue to glue it down. And all I did was add a circle punch for where I want the ring to go, and if you come back next week, I will be making the inside pages of the album. Thanks so much for looking.